Will Hildebrand, hello.
I did.
Now, it's 10 years ago today that internet giant Google hit the stock market. I can't quite believe it. I feel like I've been saying I'm going to Google that for a very long time.
I know, right? I mean, it's been a massive change since even the stock was floated on the stock market, and they've evolved well beyond their roots as an internet search engine. Its initial public offering in 2004 gave the company a market cap of $23 billion, enough to make instant millionaires out of 1,000 employees. Not a bad start for a company whose first office was in a garage. 10 years after its IPO, Google has 52,000 employees, 20 times its workforce a decade ago. Its projected revenue for this year topped $67 billion. And Delano D'Souza takes a look at what's next for the company.
A search engine which over the course of a decade has become so much more. 10 years after its listing on Wall Street, Google continues to reshape its business. The company has become a leader in email, maps, video sharing, and mobile computing. Through its Android software, Google has stepped up its fight for dominance in wearable technology with its rival Apple. The company has already announced plans to computerize watches and glasses.
We're right at the beginning in a new phase in the miniaturization of technology, which means that it's finally possible to make a powerful computer small enough to wear comfortably on your body all day long. And there's a huge opportunity to bring rich user experiences to these devices.
Since its listing, Google's market value has risen to nearly $400 billion, and it's because of its deep pockets the company has managed to revolutionize technology. Google plans to roll out a driverless car by 2020, and in June this year it announced it would place its Android software in vehicles, taking its fight with Apple to another field.
And over 25 car brands have signed up to ship Android Auto in the near future. What's more, the first cars with Android Auto will be rolling off dealer lots before the end of this year.
In January, the company acquired smoke detector Nest Labs for $3 billion, a move which will likely see Google physically expanding its footprint from people's everyday lives into their homes.
Quite the story of Google there. Well, let's take a look to see how things are looking on Wall Street. Tensions were eased over the Ukrainian crisis, boosting trading, as did positive economic data out of the U.S. and NASDAQ hitting a 14-year high earlier today. The U.S. cost of living appears to be flat as the economy is improving and home construction rose nearly 16% in July. That led to big gains for Home Depot. The do-it-yourself retailer reported earnings that beat expectations and hiked its outlook for the year. And investors are, at least for the moment, shaking off some of those worries over Ukraine. But the crisis is having a noticeable effect on the Russian economy. Already hurting from Western sanctions, now it seems Russia is suffering from its own ban of Western food. In St. Petersburg, food has increased some 10% according to the city's economic policy chief, and that inflation was even before the impact of the sanctions, and the hike is even more dramatic for staples like pork and chicken, both of which have risen well over 20%. Now, Prime Minister Dmitry Medvedev said Monday that he did not expect the ban would raise food prices, but he also said he hoped it wouldn't last longer than a year. Let's take a quick look now at another story coming out of Russia. The banks have been scrambling to fill the void left by companies like Visa and MasterCard. Banks were hoping to find a company that could offer a payment system. Earlier this year, Russian President Vladimir Putin had suggested the country would develop its own system, but those plans never seemed to get off the ground. Though now the country appears to have found an alternative. It's China Union Pay. Some banks are saying the Chinese payment system is the only alternative, but that it will take time to get up to steam. A quick look now at some other news making headlines today. BHP Billiton unveiled its long-awaited restructuring plan. It will create a more than 10 billion euro mining and metals company. The world's biggest mining firm also saw a 23% increase in annual profits to 10 billion euros. Still, that was just shy of analysts' expectations. And Steve Ballmer has stepped down as director of Microsoft. His departure ends a more than 30-year association with the software giant, 14 of which were as CEO before he handed the reins to Satya Nadella earlier this year. Now, one of the reasons for his stepping down were the demands of the upcoming professional basketball season. Ballmer, of course, recently bought the Los Angeles Clippers team for $2 billion. let's stick with that theme of jobs, and would you like to be paid to study chocolate?
Yes.
I agree, I would as well. It sounds like I could take that work home with me too. But if you want that job, look no further than the Cambridge University. The website is looking for a candidate with a PhD to, quote, investigate the factors which allow chocolate, which has a melting point close to that of the human body, to remain solid and retain qualities sought by consumers when it's stored and sold in warm climates. I think one of the best parts of that job might be the title, Doctor of Chocolate.
That does sound pretty good. I think the taste testing might also be quite good too. All right, thanks very much for that, William Hildebrand. It's time now to find out what gets people clicking, sharing and liking online with web news. And again, we begin with that trend of pouring buckets of ice over your head.